last day in, last full day here in Mexico, and I was in the middle of, filming this personal video for YouTube, and it turns out that we got an opportunity to actually shoot a little, I guess, real estate video for the resort that we're in. So I guess I'll continue this video by using footage from that. So the first tip that I would give you in terms of creating B-roll footage is to shoot in slow motion. Almost every camera nowadays has 60 frames per second, if not even 120 frames, which is great, but it's not super important. As long as you have 60 frames per second, it's the bare minimum required to creating super silky, slow motion footage. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to shoot in slow motion, it just helps. So whether that is footage for a real estate video where you're trying to show off a room, the slightest movement in that room will then be just the tad bit silkier, this tad bit more smooth. So tip number one, shoot in slow motion if you can, 60 frames, 120 frames, great starting point. So the next tip, while I keep making my coffee over here, is to use a gimbal if you can. So if you have a gimbal, adding any sort of motion or movement into your footage makes a hell of a lot of difference. And even if you don't have a gimbal, honestly, putting the camera neck strap around your neck, extending it out full arms, and just giving it a slight pan or a slight tilt or a slight, dolly in, dolly out, any sort of movement in your B-roll footage does subconsciously make it look better. Now, obviously you can have some static shots. You can just, put it on a tripod, static shot of whatever it is you're shooting. But in my experience, me personally, I love putting in some sort of movement or motion into anything I shoot. And this does make sense if you've watched any TV shows or movies or whatever. Pay attention to any B-roll footage that they have within that production and watch if the shot is completely still or not. Chances are it isn't always like super still. It may even be moving just micro little millimeters over whatever measurements that is. I sort of just made up a measurement, but if you pay attention to any of the shots that I created for this real estate video of the resort, you'll notice that I am either on a gimbal, moving through the rooms or through the locations, or very minimally, just literally panning the camera left to right, up to down, whatever it may be. So yeah, motion and movement is super nice and crucial for B-roll footage. Well, literally the last of it. This is not sponsored anyway, but literally the last of the coffee. And after the one I post now, that will go after.
That's one, yeah, that's
I'm gonna post that one just because I'm trying to kind of keep it
the same kind of line. Yeah. Okay.
so far. Like up to here will be good.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Next tip for getting awesome B-roll is that you want a variety. So, for things like this, I probably most of the time shoot as wide as possible, so on a 60mm lens. But when I say variety, what that means is you can't just shoot wides only, because going from one wide shot to another wide shot to another wide shot, it's just, it's not pleasantly looking to the eye. So you shoot, as much wides or whatever makes sense to look and be shot in a wide view. But then also, transition to some closer ups, maybe a medium shot. So basically what it means is just have variety of footage.
All for the gram.
All for the gram, man. Let's see what the boss thinks.
Because like every little detail matters, like how far your foot's out, is the logo showing, like all that matters. So micro adjustments make a big difference. And the last tip for creating great B-roll footage is to use foreground and background. So use depth in your shots, and this is a common thing that many, including myself, learned through photography. By adding something either in front of the lens or behind your subject, creating that sense of depth really makes your B-roll footage better. So, you know, whether that means shooting through some leaves or shooting through maybe some tableware, is that a word? Yeah, tableware or decor on a table to show off the room, which I did a lot of the times here. I did explain some things while I was actually doing this project because my homies were shooting some behind the scenes footage of this whole process. But yeah, like I said, the team and I were there originally to shoot a wedding, but on our day off, we ended up making a tour video, a real estate video, if you want to call it, for the resort that we were at. And obviously, you know, having these B-roll skills really comes in handy. 4 tips, literally while I just made my coffee. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, and you can feel free to follow on Instagram through all the links in the description. So yeah, until then, I'll see you in the next video.